Anime figure brands have been spamming way too many RAM figures that by now they have ran out of ideas of what dress, what kind of clothes to give her, so she's going to space now. Hi and welcome back to the channel. Welcome to our weekly figure news fixed on Sundays. So for today, we will be taking a look at figures on pre-order between 13th November to 18th November. For this week, the amount of stuff on pre-order, how do I put it? Most of the stuff are not really to my own personal interest, I'm not interested in, but there are a few notable figures which are kind of interesting in a way. And then there's this RAM figure which, wow, I wasn't expecting it. Anyways, we'll go into Hobby Link Japan first, followed by a few other websites, and finally we go for third-party resin figures for today's coverage. Okay, so for scale figures, we'll start things off with, as usual, HLJ first, and then we'll jump through a few websites, and finally third-party resin figures over on OzGK. There is a huge change over in OzGK, and I would like to explain it to you guys in a while, right? There are a lot of good changes going on in that website in the past 1 week. Okay, firstly in HLJ, we go for the scale figures of the week. As usual, the first one, 1x7 scale Tsukasa Tojo from Heaven Burns Red. Almost 17,000 yen by Kotobukiya, coming out in May next year, which is pretty fast, 6 months away from release. So in the recent months or so, we are starting to see more and more figures coming out from Heaven Burns Red. Yeah, a game, of course. The thing is, I don't play that many games. I'm a very casual gamer. So a lot of these characters I am not familiar with, and the only one single factor that will determine whether I go for a figure or not is down to character design, right? I'm always focusing on character design first, and then whether I know the character's background or not, that is a secondary factor. This one, from the way I look at her, this is like typical schoolgirl holding a science fiction style pistol, like Psycho-Pass style pistol. Yeah. 17,000 yen is okay for something like this. I mean, the yen is pretty weak nowadays, and scale figures, they pretty much cost 20k and up. No, this is a simple figure. And wow, look at that seam line over there on her right shoulder. Yeah, this one over here. Yeah, this is normal because they are separate parts and then they have to glue it together. And Kotobukiya was probably betting on the fact that you would be looking at this figure from this angle, where you can still see the seam line, but it looks more natural from this angle, as if that is just the stitching, no, on the outfit, sewing. Yeah, from this angle it looks a bit more natural, but from this angle it looks a bit bad. Yeah. However, this is a low-cost figure. I think this is still fine. Hopefully, the hair strand would conceal the seam line a bit in the actual product. Up next, from OneFest as well, Oshinoko Kana Arima figure by Kadokawa at 1x7 scale, finally on pre-order for just 19,000 yen. This is the first or the second Kana Arima figure. I think Kotobukiya also made one. Anyways, if you love Oshinoko, this is a must-have, period, right? The thing with this figure of Kana Arima, I think she looks great. Kadokawa and Kotobukiya, they rarely mess up the face of the figure. The face here, I'm not sure if she looks like that in the anime, or is this following the original manga art style. I'm not too sure. It feels a bit different, but looks like Kana enough, right? So I have no problems over here. This is a must-have if you love Oshinoko. Up next, we have a couple of very overpriced girls frontline figures, but only in Japan, you see. Let me explain. This 1x7 scale UMP45 Corona Sunset, okay, Corona, for 26,500 yen, and it cost even more over in Ami. I think it was like 27 or 28,000 yen because they're including the Japanese 10% GST tax, right? Okay, this figure, I really loved it so much when I saw it in Wonder Festival back then, and I still love her today. Like, I may have mentioned this more than a couple of times that slice of life figures, especially those that feel very relatable and very natural, I love them so much, right? And they tend to not cost too much. I think those quintessential quintuplet figures by Good Smile, they were the best examples, right? This UMP45 over here is another great example coming from Hobby Max. And also the other girl over here, there are 5 girls. I think the first 2 are on pre-order. This is UMP9, right? Same thing, I love the colors on these figures over here. Yeah, HobbyMax also made a series of casual fashion style outfits from Evangelion series. This is very similar in that regard. Yeah, they're going on shopping over here. 26,500 yen each for these 2 figures over here is extremely overpriced. But the problem over here is that this is only true in Japanese websites for some reason. You go to AmiAmi, Nin Game or anywhere else, you get greeted by this number 26,000 or higher than that somehow. HLJ is already one of the cheapest among Japanese websites out there for anime figures. If you go to China, especially Taobao, right? The official pricing for these girls' frontline figures by HobbyMax is 899 Chinese yuan each. Let's just call it 900 CNY, right? And you do the conversion, it is less than 19,000 yen, 18,640. But if you add on this conversion cost from banks, your credit card and so on, it is a bit over 19,000 yen, right? The fact of the matter is, these figures cost less than 20k each, and you're paying another 6,000 to 8,000 yen more in Japan's websites for some reason. I have no idea why they are doing this regional pricing, but why, right? And this is not the only Chinese brand figure that is doing this. If you look at most Mietos or Apex Toys figures, right, Genshin figures included, the Chinese pricing and the Japanese pricing are quite different. The Chinese pricing is often cheaper. So ideally, if you want anime figures from Chinese brands like Apex, Mietos, Rebos, HobbyMax as well, and many others, ideally you will want to purchase or pre-order them from Chinese websites, especially Taobao. But the big problem is the entire website is in Chinese, so you will need to be able to communicate and converse in Chinese. That is the language barrier over there. That is a problem. For me, I'm the kind who is always looking for the best deal, so I am not loyal to any single one website. I am hopping over half a dozen different websites at any time, seeing which site is selling the figure for slightly cheaper, and then of course, you need to factor in the shipping cost as well, and then I'll go for the cheapest option whenever I can. So especially for Chinese branded licensed genuine figures, yeah, getting it from Chinese websites is ideal, especially if you are able to read Chinese, of course. It is just not so worth it, 26k, seriously. Okay, moving on to the next one, 1x7 skill Arc Knights, Unector's dress version from Mietos, only 14,000 yen. Okay, this reminds me of those black dress Arc Knight figures which Mietos is also making around this price range as well. And this Kemono girl, animal girl, I'm calling this Kemono girl because of that tail over there. It looks kind of weird, like normal human girl. For some reason, cat ears, dog ears feels okay, even rabbit feels okay, but that tail over there, is that a snake or a lizard or some reptile? It just looks so weird to me. A bit creepy in a way. Oh, an elf, not a human, but still, you know. Yeah, that tail is just, okay. But I mean, a scale figure on a really nice looking chair over there. If you can overlook that tail, I mean, you know more about Arc Knights than I do, then this is a really good buy, really. It doesn't have to be the most detailed figures, like a high quality scale figure at 14k. This is a really good purchase anyway. Moving on to the next one, we have a couple of figures from Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. This is Kana by Gong. Another new brand I've never heard of. In fact, this is the first time I'm seeing this name Gong. Very first time. 13,500 yen. Yeah, this shouldn't cost too much because Kana is really small. Like, she is tiny. She is tiny. And at 1x7 scale, the box of this figure would probably like this small. I don't know. At least she will be extremely cheap to ship though. Now, Kana is the better looking figure between the two figures that I'm about to cover over here. Yeah, she looks exactly like Kana herself. But the problem is the other character over here, which is Tohru for 14,000 yen. Now, there has been mixed responses to this figure, and I can see why. The figure looks fine on the surface, right? Not a very detailed figure, but 14k, I'm willing to overlook that. The problem with this figure of Toru, I'm not sure if this is based on the anime or an artwork in the manga or light novel cover or the art style within the manga. Since most of us normies or semi-normies out there who watch anime, I don't consider myself a normie, but let's call it semi-normies, right? Or anime casuals. Most of us who got to know this character, we got to know her through anime. And this version of Toru doesn't really look like her at all. Like, it feels like a K-On character or any other KyoAni character cosplaying as Toru. That face doesn't look like Toru that much. So, I'm a bit confused over here, and probably they are following some other sources based on other artworks that are not from anime. So this is not anime style face. That is my guess over here. But for 14,000 yen, if you are willing to overlook that, this is still a great purchase, because most of the time these Miss Kobayashi Dragon Maid figures, they are not very cheap, right? And those that has been released in the past, because they are pretty popular, they have become rare and expensive. So that is one thing to think about. The next one here, 1/7 scale Sumugi Shiraishi from the Idol Master. Million Life, just under 20,000 yen by Kotobukiya. Now, this is a pretty detailed figure for 20k. For some reason, in the recent month or two, we are starting to see a lot more figures where they are holding a mask somehow. Is that a trend? But I like this trend a lot. Not something I would purchase. I've stopped collecting Idol Master as well, but this is a really good buy for 20k. And seriously, Idol Master has so many characters, unlike Love Live. Like Love Live, for each series you have like 9 girls, that's all you get. Idol Master has so many and there is no end to it. Man, at least IMA's figures are doing better than us FGO, Arknights and Azalin figures. Like, we have it rough. We have an endless number of characters and each of them cost way more than 20k. The next one here, this figure, I consider it as the main highlight of this week. Is this the best figure of this week? Probably not. But this is so unusual, so different from the rest that I just had to bring her up in the title of today's Figure News Fix. 1/7 scale Ram from ReZero in a space suit. So she's going to space now. Anime figure brands have been spamming way too many Ram figures that by now they have ran out of ideas of what dress, what kind of clothes to give her. So they have to give her a space suit now. Something different at least, I suppose. This is coming from DesignCoco at just under 20,000 yen, coming out in January year 2025. You see, we are not yet in year 2024 and now you have to start budgeting for year 2025 for your anime figure purchases. Now back to this figure, I have a very simple question. When was the last time you saw an anime figure of any anime or game character in a space outfit? Including the helmet, by the way. I mean, you can consider any Evangelion figure to be a space suit in some way, the Black Suit or Zero Two from Darling the France. But think about it, with helmet on the head itself, right? Like this one over here. When was the last time you saw a figure wearing a space suit helmet like this? Can you recall any? If you have not collected anime figures for more than 5 years, probably you are not aware of the existence of this figure. I think it was from Denpa Ona something. Seishun Otoko, I think so. Seasonal anime. I think CM Corporation, this company, made a figure of her in a space outfit. That was so many years ago. I'm surprised that I still remember this figure even today. Maybe because it stands out so much for being in an astronaut suit. That was the only one I can think of. Yeah. And the company's CM Corporation is one of the lower tier figure brands. Like, their quality in general is not very good. Right? Okay, and that, yeah, perhaps that is the only space suit figure with a helmet on the head that I could think of at the moment. Of course, if you consider Plug Suit as a type of space suit, then pretty much every Evangelion figure, Zero Two in the mecha suit, and also, yeah, Move Luft alternative, yeah, those are all pilot suits in a way, but still wearing a helmet. This is something new. In so many years, I've never seen any so far. So if you are an avid collector of RAM figures, you have a cabinet full of RAMs, you have 200 RAM figures by now, then this is a must-have simply for being very different from the rest. And for 20,000 yen, you're getting two heads presumably. I don't see how you can jam that helmet on a head, a head part. So you're getting two heads over here and optional parts for her to hold the helmet in her hands at 20,000 yen. This is a really good purchase. In fact, just a couple of weeks ago, that Senbon Zakura Miku figure by DesignCoco, 14,000 yen or so. This figure brand is getting a lot of my attention for making great looking figures with a low cost to boot. And I'm really looking forward to see what these DesignCoco figures are all about. One day I might pick up a figure or two from them just to check it out how good they are, right? The next one, okay, this figure, she is not nude at all. She is actually wearing a full swimsuit, one-piece swimsuit. But the swimsuit is kind of skin-colored, so it almost looks like she is nude at a quick glance, but she is not. But I decided to play safe by covering most of the figure. A quick Google search will give you the pictures of this figure anyway, right? 1x4 scale Kaori Tachibana illustrated by Saburo figure. Okay, by Party Look, Chinese figure brand in case you're not aware of, and going for 35,000 yen, that is about the normal price for 1x4. So this isn't the kind of exceptionally cheap Chinese brand figure, still costs quite a penny over here. And there is a more expensive version going for 38,000 yen deluxe edition where you're getting bonuses, I presume. If I switch back and forth, you can see the face is slightly different on the limited and the regular version, but I don't know if the regular version will include both face parts. So far from what I'm aware of, the deluxe edition is giving you an extra tapestry, 60 by 30 centimeters, right? The next one, 1x8 scale Dakaretai Otoko number 1 ni Odosareteimasu. This is yaoi, right? I mean, I read the title, it feels that way even though I don't understand Japanese that much. This is for you girls watching this though. Takato Saijo, a re-release by Freeing for just under 17,000 yen. Now that I see the word Freeing, yeah, I do remember they actually make a series of 1x8 scale Barney guy figures for you girls out there. And this is a re-release because obviously you girls don't have much choices, you know. Every week we get sexy female characters as figures in all kinds of sizes and shapes, regardless of whether you are a MILF or a lolicon, you know, you get everything. But for the girls, they don't get enough fan service for the guy figures out there, you know. So finally there is something getting re-released if you haven't bought one yet. Yeah. Obviously, I'm not buying things like this, but it is nice that figures like this exist for those who need it, right? Of course, the other guy over there, he is also getting a re-release. This one, Junta Azumaya, under 17,000 yen as well. So if you want one, this is your second chance. Go and pre-order it. The next one, also a re-release, Super Sonico White Cat version by Union Creative, just 18,000 yen. This Sonico doesn't really look as good, right? I do have 3 Sonico figures at home. And they are pretty old. They came out back in the mid-2010s also. I think all 3 are made by Orchid Seed. They are amazing. One of them is a 1x5 scale, and then we have a 1x6 and a 1x7. So I have 3 Sonico figures. Still keeping them today. They are amazing. And over the years in the past 5 or 7 years, there has been way too many Sonico figures. She was like second only to Miku in popularity back then. So there were a lot of figures of her. But because there were way too many figures of Sonico, I have been pretty selective with what I buy back then. And in the end, I went back to Orchid Seed because I think they make the best looking Super Sonico figures. Nowadays, Orchid Seed is making something else. I don't think they make Super Sonico anymore. I think Super Sonico is under Nitro Plus, right? And that is one of the mascot characters. And Orchid Seed is somehow related to Nitro Plus as well, actually. The next one, we have 3 pop-up parades on pre-order this week. The first one, Matsui Kazamaki from Ayakashi Triangle, just under 4,000 yen. This is a dude, by the way. Yeah, perhaps her body, including the reproductive organs, are female, but Inside here, it is a dude. He was being converted from male to female due to a curse or something like that. I did watch the anime, and I heard that it was popular because the artist was the same one who did To Love Ru, right? But there are really just no comparison. To Love Ru is so much superior. Matsuri Kazamaki feels like a soft core plus version of To Love Ru. Way too soft core. Right, and the next one, of course, Suzu Kanade, one of the best seller female characters from this series. So it is no wonder we're getting pop-up rates. I still think you should try to go for the scale figures if you like her. Suzu Kanade's upper half isn't anything special. Most of the fans are a fan of her lower half. Yeah, her hips and her thighs, right? Man of culture out there. And the last one, it is actually a Tenitor, not a pop-up rate, but still low-cost scale figure. Miku from Queen's Essential Quintuplets, just under 5,000 yen. I can't say I'm a fan of these 5 figures of these sisters sitting on this dish over here, as if it is dessert. Maybe it is just not my kind of figure, right? Everyone has their own personal taste. And that is all for HLJ. The next stop is Ami Ami. The next one, we have FGO Lancer Karna 1/8 scale by Outer, just under 30,000 yen. Now this character over here, male character, surely maybe not as popular as the females, but it is one of those FGO characters which I wouldn't take it very lightly. He is one of the most popular male FGO characters out there, just behind Gilgamesh, right? And for that reason alone, pre-ordering one isn't necessarily a bad idea. Surely, after release, you might be able to find him for a small discount, despite the popularity because of production quantity. They make a lot, right? However, being a bargain hunter like me, you want to be extra careful with this one. You wouldn't want to wait too long either after release before picking one up, because if you wait beyond 6 months, for example, the value might start making a U-turn and goes right up instead, because as the quantity, the stocks out there start to become lesser and lesser, yeah, you will see the value go up for this character right here. Same thing with Gilgamesh. As for myself, being an FGO collector, I can't even finish buying the female characters, so I couldn't allocate extra budget for the dudes. But if I can, yeah, I want Gilgamesh and also Karna in my collection. That is the sad state of being a figure collector. You really can't have everything you want. The next one here, this figure is not an exclusive in any way. Karna was an Ami Ami exclusive. So this one is not yet up in HLJ. Maybe it is just HLJ being slow again, you know. Lucille, illustrated by Yuge, 1/7 scale, deluxe edition by Last Z Design. I've never heard of Last Z Design, but being a provisional pre-order, this has to be Chinese figure brand, right? If you're not interested in merchandise, which in this case you're getting a wall scroll, yeah, there is a cheaper version, 15,500 yen. 15,400, okay. For me, this is just another bunny figure. Quite a nice looking one nonetheless, but the colors are a bit too bland. Like, the whole thing is just white color, including the, the hair color, right? So, I'm not too sure about this one over here. The price is cheap enough to get my attention over here. But if I want something really cheap, yeah, Bear Panda is doing it. That Chinese brand selling figures for 6,000 yen. So I might go for that. This one we'll see. I don't think I'll pre-order this one. Now moving on to Ninin Game, we have a bunch of Beeful and Forge Japan and Insight figures for this week. That a number of them I can put on screen, but there are more which I couldn't cover because they're really lewd. So for those that I can cover, here it is the first one. Osumashi Daughter 1/6 scale by Beeful and Forge Japan. Coming out in February. That is really fast. 3 months away. Okay. So this one, yeah, you're going to get a nude version of this, right? And regardless of your opinions of lolly characters with no clothes on, yeah, people are going to buy this. You see, these Beeful and Forge Japan figures, regardless of their notorious reputation with their figures breaking very easily and not turning out as good as the official product pictures, yeah, they are the modern day Griffin Enterprises, but somehow worse in a way. People still buy them because they like the artist and the art behind this character over here. That is all it matters to the Japanese at least, right? The next one, yeah, we have a 1x4 scale of the very same thing at 27,000 yen. Once again, if the thing doesn't break upon arrival, then it is still a really good purchase, yeah, despite being a B-full figure. Moving on to the next one, Mataro original character Nure China 1x6 scale limited plus bonus by Rocket Boy and Native, 36,000 yen, coming out in May 2024. Okay, now this one, just another ecchi figure, right? Okay, I'm gonna stop right here. Once again, I think this is dependent on whether you like the character design. For me, I can't say I like the color of an outfit. Like those white color parts, they are using this semi-translucent material, which Union Creative and a number of other brands also use. So it looks more like, who knows, male protein color, semen color, rather than white color. I would rather they make it in white color rather than in this semi-translucent material, right? I would prefer it in white, yeah. This just looks like semen to me. Okay, moving on to the next one. Bishoujo Statue Transformers Thundercracker 1x7 scale by Kotobukiya. This is Kotobukiya online shop exclusive, going for 20,600 yen, coming out next year in June, right? So this is strictly for you guys who collect Transformer girls. I've never been a fan of this Bishoujo series by Kotobukiya, not my kind of thing really. But in general, they are pretty good values for those who want to collect high quality scale figures. Moving on to the next one, we have some sort of a re-release to see. Binding and Native is taking a page of Free Ink's playbook. This figure of Bastet 1x4 scale Casino Barrelic version from Binding Creators' Opinion. She was extremely popular when she was first released, I think a year or two ago, right? Unfortunately, when I saw the final product pictures of this figure, the face was a bit different from the ones in those product pictures, official product pics, right? So I lost interest. However, the rest of the figure, the body, the pose, everything was amazing. And if you don't mind the slightly different face, I don't know if they will fix it in this re-release, but without the stockings on the leg, I think it is extremely unlikely because they're using the same mold, right? So it is unlikely that the face would be rectified. You'll get the same face. Go and check out existing user pictures of this figure by others on MFC, and you decide whether you like it or not. Moving on to the next one, original character Suke China Mion 1x4 scale by Bifu and Forge Japan, once again for 27,000 yen. Yeah, she is cute. I like the face expression a lot. This is really cute, right? However, 1x4 scale at 27k is also pretty enticing, I have to be honest over here. Just that maybe 1x4 scale is not as fragile as 1x6 scale. There's one thing to think about. So if you like her, maybe give it a try. But remember that Beeful and Forge Japan, they don't use PVC or ABS to make the figures. They use something called PMMA, which I won't go into the details on what the chemical composition of this material is like, but what you guys need to know is that, yeah, it is more fragile. It is a bit like resin. There's one thing to think about over here. Perhaps 1x4 is a safer purchase than 1x7. Of course, there is a 1x6 scale variant for 18,000 yen, but when their 1x4 scales cost as much as 1x7 from Outer, yeah, just go for the bigger one, buy the 1x4 scale if you decide to take the risk anyway. And the last figure on Ninin Game for today, an Aniplex exclusive. Yeah, this is an Aniplex exclusive, but as usual, you can get it on Ninin Game as well in case Aniplex does not ship to your country, you know. Okay, Bocchi the Rock Goto Hitori made version, limited edition, 5,300 yen. This is under Aniplex and Sentinel. They are working together. And this is pretty much Aniplex version of those low-cost figures we are seeing from Tennital or Pop-Up Rage. Aniplex is doing the same thing, right? And for a 5,000 yen figure, she actually looks really well made. Like the face is great looking over there. When I saw this figure in one hobby gallery last week, I assumed that this was a 20,000 yen figure and up. But now that this is a 5,000 yen figure, this is something completely different from that 22,000 yen Bocce figure that went on pre-order in Aniplex website a week ago. Maybe you can go for both because this cost really low, you know. I have no idea yet how good Aniplex low cost figures are, but it is worth giving it a try. I mean, Bocce the Rock is extremely popular. Yeah. That's all for genuine figures this week. Now we shall move on to third-party resin figures, making use of OzGK, our affiliate, just like HLJ. Now, OzGK, there is a huge overhaul of this website in the past weekend, right? So now this website looks completely different in a very good way. And I'm going to let you guys know in advance over here. Now the search engine and everything else, in fact, is a lot better and more user-friendly. We have this weekly recommend section, social media trending, and finally, newest pre-order section. And this is where I'll make use of to do my weekly news. And below this newest pre-order section, there is a new early bird section. Basically, any figures with only a digital rendering or has very few product pictures or it does not have a final price yet, only a pre-order deposit. They are all here. And I find this extremely helpful towards those who are inexperienced in collecting resin figures. This is a very good thing. So we go back up to newest pre-order section, right? And we get this page over here, all the newest pre-orders with a search filter on the left. This is very helpful for me. I want to cover not only the newest pre-orders but also the new early bird figures that come out every week, right? No problem. On the left product face, I also tick early bird as a filter. Yeah, and the page will refresh itself. There we go. And I will choose the female characters to cover every week as usual. The first one here from 6th Magnitude Star Studio, we have Bayonetta. Very popular character with no figures out there. Like the last time there was a figure of this character was so many years ago. Very rare and expensive today. So it is a really nice thing to see third-party brands picking up on characters like this one. $622 US, that is actually for both, right? So there are 3 variants over here. Version A, the one on the right is version A. And then there is version B and A plus B when you can get both, right? Version A only full payment. Yeah, version A full payments would be $422 US. But if you get both A plus B, there is a huge discount over there, $622. So you're getting like 300 plus for each figure, which is great value over here. This is a 1x4 scale. 2 1x4 scales at $622. Now that is a great buy, seriously. I'm not going to scroll through every pic because it would be a huge pain to censor them. There are links below, you can check them out. They are all affiliate links. Make use of them if you are interested in any of these figures. The next one from Paper Crane Studio, we have Sailor Moon Moonlight Sonata Usagi Tsukino. Regular version $625 US, deluxe version $654. So just an extra $220 or so. I think you're getting an extra faceplate over here, right? Yeah, this is the realistic version and this is the anime version. Let's take a look at the descriptions at the bottom. Always read product descriptions, right? Scroll all the way to the bottom. This is 1x3 scale. Okay, deluxe version, you get a replacement anime head plus black cat. There you go. So you're getting an extra faceplate just for an extra $25 or so. This time around, I think that this realistic version looks a lot better somehow. Normally, I prefer anime version. But for some reason, the realistic one looks so much better over here. And the anime version, yeah, it looks fine too. Looks fine. So when the difference on a $600 figure between standard and deluxe is just $25, just get the deluxe version. In fact, I don't understand why they would need to make 2 separate versions when the price difference is so small. Just sell everyone the deluxe version. And this is massive at 1x3 scale, 654. I think this is one of those ultimate statues out there for those fans of Sailor Moon. This is actually a good purchase if you can afford one. Yep. Moving on to the next one from LX Studio, we have Boa Hancock from One Piece. Okay, for this one, you have several choices over here. Original color version for the figure only, $192. The snake only without boa Hancock, 153. I don't understand why this option is even an option to begin with, but I suppose that maybe there are people out there who already has a figure of boa Hancock and they only want the serpent. So I think it makes sense. And then there is a blue version set going for 340 over here. And finally, purple gold set for the same price. Now, blue or purple, which one looks better? Let me know down in the comments below. Tough choice to me. I think the blue one looks a bit better, but both are pretty nice anyway. Okay, let's go through the pictures a bit over here. For Boa Hancock, yeah, there are way too many crack figures of her in the third-party markets anyway, so you pick your favorite and that is it, right? This is a red version. Why am I not seeing a red version in the choices over there? Or you can only get the red version if you buy the standard version without the snake. I'm not too sure over here. I think I like the red color best. Yeah. Blue is quite nice as well. And purple, yeah, this is a tough choice. Seriously, all three colors are good. I think they have released this figure before in the past, and this is more like a version 2.0 where they fixed her face a bit. The one on the left is the older version and the one on the right is the newer version. Yeah, there is a slight difference in the eye over there. A bit better, I would say, and man, that is a huge forehead. Yeah, Boa Hancock anyway. Okay, moving on to the next one, Inuyasha by Fairy Bean Studio. Full price $784 at 1/5 scale. 1/5, 784. Well, this will only appeal to the classic lovers. I think I watched a bit of the anime as a child, you know. It was aired in AXN channel, I think, but I did not like it. Yeah, even as a child, I did not like the anime Inuyasha. So with Inuyasha, if you want a genuine licensed figure, you only get low cost stuff from Tenitol and Pop-Up Parade. If you want something better, then I'm afraid third-party resins are the way to go over here. Of course, I think there are genuine licensed resin figures of Inuyasha too. I can't remember if it was Prime 1 Studio, but there was one out there. The next one from Clone Studio, we have One Piece Beast Pirates Headliners Series Set A for $559. You see, initially I thought this was a series of accessories for an existing figure. I was a bit confused. But what you are actually getting is an entire set of figures for $559. This entire set over here, if I am guessing correctly over here, and a set of 5, 6, 7, 8 figures for $559, man, that is an insane value. But even more importantly, the shipping cost is going to be crazy, right? Let's take a look at the descriptions at the bottom. Nothing is mentioned over here, but more than likely you're getting a set of figures, right? In case you are unsure what you're getting with your purchase, message them. Always message and ask questions if you're unsure, right? But with the title of this product over here, they are calling this a set. Maybe you're getting everything in the pictures shown. Okay, moving on to the next one from Miyin Studio with Azalane IJN Owari. Okay, this is an early bird pre-order. So you see, for early birds, right, you can only place a deposit. You couldn't pay the full payment. It will be out of stock and you can't add it to cart. Because they don't know the final price yet, what if you overpaid, right? So you can't pay for the full price, only a deposit, which makes a lot of sense. And this is a lot better than the older website. Seriously, everything is just so clear-cut. Okay, IJN Owari is like super popular. There are a lot of guys who are interested in this figure already. And there was a better figure of her, I think a couple of weeks ago. Can't remember the studio anymore, right? I think the older version was a lot better, but if you would prefer her with less clothes on, then this is a solid pre-order as well. Moving on to the next one from Yeser Studio, we have Yoruichi Shihoyin from Bleach. $405. This is at 1/4 scale, so once again, this is a pretty good value actually. Yeah. And you're getting that giant couch over there for 400 bucks. You only have to suffer when it comes to the shipping cost, of course, but this is a pretty solid looking figure of Shihoe. Yeah. Up next, from RHB Studio in Malaysia, RHB is actually a bank. Okay, life-sized waifu of Tifa at only 1,434 US dollars. This is extremely cheap for what it is. Yes, I just call this a life-sized waifu, and you already know what this thing actually is, right? When I posted this life-sized statue on my Facebook page, a few of you guys commented that this doesn't really look like Tifa. It looks more like an ordinary person cosplaying as Tifa, and I actually do agree, right? Another studio called Game Lady Studio, they made a better version of this life-sized Tifa statue out there. It is a lot better, the one by Game Lady Studio, but the problem is that thing is over a grand more expensive. This is only 1,400 US dollars. The one by Game Lady Studio, 2,600 or so. Yeah, 2,600 bucks, but it looks better. So at this point, it is really up to you. Do you want to go for the very best? Or you want to save money and go for the best value? You want the best one, Game Lady Studio is the answer. If you just want a relatively affordable, life-sized statue of your favorite game character, then this one is worth considering, even though the face is not the best looking Tifa face out there, right? We're talking about over $1,000 of difference over here between something average looking and something that is the best looking. This is a huge price difference. Of course, getting silicone material and all of the important details are included with this statue. To be honest with you guys, at life size, this is 169 centimeters, about 5 feet 7 or so. And I have to admit, I am slightly interested. Mainly because, to me, a life-size statue has always been something that is impossible to attain as an average hobbyist and average figure collector. This is something for millionaires. That is what I consider it to be. But 1,400 bucks, this is more like the price of an entry-level full-frame camera, which is not impossible to afford, right? And that is what I'm interested in. But the problem here is, even though I have a space to display one single life-sized statue of a game character, well, I'm going to get a lot of questions from my family members who visit my studio, like, what the heck is this thing? Why did you buy one? And how much money did you waste on one? Right? I mean, I'm going to get so much questions that I know that is not the biggest problem, but still, I'm buying it just to have a centerpiece in my collection, not because I want to bang this thing, you know. I have no idea, man. And not to mention, dealing with customs during import, that is a huge pain in the ass. This thing will not escape the customs. Maybe I can pass her off as a mannequin in a shopping mall to display clothes, you know. Who knows? Yeah. If you have experience importing your own life-sized statue, let me know what you think and how do you handle customs and all that stuff, like answering the questions they have for you when they open up to inspect the content. Okay, moving on to the next one over here from Imagination Studio and ACG Studio. We have Honkai Star Rail, Clara, and Svarog. Is Svarog, they spelled it wrongly over there. This is one of the main highlights this week for resin figures. So you have some options over here, right? Clara game version, this is a standard version, 246, and then Svarog only, that guy on the right, that mecha on the right, 323. Clara Ballet version, this is really nice for 265. Extreme version, which is the game version of Clara with Svarog, this is 519 US dollars. And finally, Extreme version where you get Clara Ballet version with Svarog for 667 US dollars. Yes, pretty expensive, but I think this is a really good purchase. For those of you who love this pair of figures, I think this pair looks amazing together, right? 667, it is a huge pain. It is, I really can't imagine myself paying 667 US dollars for a pair of 1x6 scales, but I can understand why they cost so much, you see. I suppose that if your budget is really limited and since you care only about sexy girls anyway, Going for extreme version of Clara only, the Belay version, is also a sensible purchase. But if you want the complete package, yeah, 667, man, this is rough. Moving on to the next one. Okay, from IC Studio, we have Genshin Impact Eula. $283 at 1/6 skill, and this is actually good value, you see. This is a massive figure, even at 1/6 skill, and she cost less than $300. I consider this to be good value already, but if you have a bit more patience or you don't like the face on this one, then wait for the one made by Wonderful Works. Wonderful Works is making a genuine figure of Eula, just that we don't know when that thing is coming out, right? Really nice base, and this thing is huge, I'm sure. What is the size of this figure? 38 centimeters, you see? 38. That is huge for a 1/6 scale. This is almost 1/5 scale, in fact, making this an even better purchase. Moving up to the next one from Dragon Studio and Pop Studio, we have One Piece Oiran outfit Yamato, going for $497 for the EX version. Standard version, $379. Oh, okay, this is the EX version, this blue hair over here. And this white hair is the standard version, $379. Which one do you think looks better? I think both of them look pretty nice, and this is a tough choice over here, right? But for 1/6 scale, almost $500 is pretty expensive, I have to admit that. Let's go through the pictures over here. That base over there, another cheat code to make the figure seem a lot taller than it actually is, and I'm going to stop scrolling right here because, yeah, you can actually reveal her boobs over there, and I don't want to scroll any further just to censor things again. So go and check out the pics yourself, of course. At 1/6 scale, this thing is 43 centimeters for the for the deluxe version, and then the regular version is 38 centimeters. But the base alone is adding quite a few centimeters on top, right? Okay, moving on to the next one. I have no idea what this studio is doing, seriously. Yuzai Renshin Studio, original character Yukiona. One hit, you're paying about $404, and two hit, $497, right? And this is actually an articulated action figure at 1/3 scale, I think. If you see me censor that word over there next to the word type, you already know what this is, but this is a 1/3 scale, so indirectly you are doing it with a doll instead of a life-sized human. I have no idea why people would buy something like this, seriously. Doesn't look good at all. Save your money for better figures, you know. Up next, from Waku Waku Studio, they exclusively make stuff from Spy Family. We have Your Forger at only $155, which is actually, yeah, a pretty good price for something at 1/6 scale. To me, it feels like there are only like 3 or 4 genuine figure brands who made scale figures of Spy Family, which is a lot lesser than I was expecting. Meanwhile, the third parties are going all out with Spy Family. This is a really good looking figure of Your Forger, and at 30 centimeters, $155 is amazing. You see that jeans shots over there, it looks so realistic. I love this so much. So this is actually a really good purchase. Moving on to the next one from Fairyland Studio, we have The Legend of Zelda. Okay, at 1/6 scale version A, the full price would be $245. You're getting Link only. And then version B, you're getting Zelda only, right? Yeah, Zelda only for $264. And version C, you get both for $404, which I think it is the best option, right? Because this pair of characters, they are meant to go with each other. They are meant to be posed next to each other. And to buy only one half of each, I think it feels really incomplete. I would rather have both, right? Yeah, get both, seriously. Legend of Zelda, yeah, we get Figmas, we get Nendo, but scale figures, I really can't think of any in the recent years. So you will have to rely on third parties like this. Yeah, 404 for both is not really too bad. And the height of this thing is around 51 centimeters. Yeah, the base is taking up 1/3 of the height, but not a bad value actually. Moving on to the next one, this is also one of the highlights this week, and this is my favorite resin figure this week. It is so tempting that I'm considering on placing a pre-order. NiPiPi Studio 1/6 scale Urawa Hanako from Blue Archive. This looks amazing at $245 man. The face expression is everything. This is smoking hot. Yeah, that face expression over there. And just a bit of extra information for you guys. NiPiPi Studio is Dodomo Studio, right? And I have no idea why they are keeping both names, Dodomo Studio and NiPiPi Studio. Are they slowly phasing out the old name Dodomo Studio? Since I roasted them so badly in my review of their Marin Kitagawa figure, they really screwed up the face on that one, the eye placement. So are they trying to change to a new name so that people forget about their bad past, their infamous past? I'm not too sure. Or is Dodomo Studio actually just going for multiple brands? Like Dodomo will do a few characters from other anime series, and then NiPiPi Studio will focus on Genshin and Blue Archive. I have no idea at this point. This is merely my own speculation, right? It could go both ways. They could keep both names, or they could slowly phase out the old name. But in the end, you need to remember NiPiPi is Dodomo, and keep your expectations in line with what Dodomo is used to making. But regardless, Dodomo Studio is really good at making people want their figures. And despite that one single bad experience with Marin Kitagawa, I will give their figures a try again. Like, I pre-ordered NiPiPi Studio Hu Tao. And now that I know NiPiPi Studio is Dodomo, will I cancel my pre-order on Hu Tao? No, I won't. I will still keep that pre-order. I'll still go for it. And this figure of Urawa Hanako, man, I want it so badly. Seriously. The face alone is enough of a reason for me to get one right here. This is among the best resin figures this week, really. And it is not important whether the figure is cast stoppable or not. Doesn't matter. The next one, we have a 1/6 scale figure of Hu Tao from Hyperspace Studio. This is also one of the main highlights this week, right? No price yet. This is only an early bird pre-order. You can't add it to cart. You can only place a deposit. So version A is a smiling faceplate. This one right here. This smiling faceplate is version A. This is version B. I call it Netorare face or NTR face, right? And this face is so much better. I would go for version B if I were you. And version C, you get face for both, right? Not enough pictures yet. We only have 3 pictures over here. Version C, you get 2 different heads, right? Both the smiling faceplate and this faceplate over here. Of course, I would recommend you guys to go for the deluxe version, the version C. And we don't know the pricing on this thing yet, but I imagine it won't be cheap. I'm predicting an average of $450 to $500 even. Even though this may be a 1/6 scale, not 1/4, but this thing is massive. I could tell already. What is the size? Not yet mentioned, but I believe this thing is at least 40 centimeters including the base, so this won't be cheap. However, that face expression alone, this face will make a lot of people want this figure of Hu Tao. This looks really hot. Yeah. Moving on to the next one, we have Anya in swimsuit from QM Studio. This is going for $71 coming out in March 2024. Now, the height of this figure is 15 centimeters. That is closer to 1/6 already. So really up to you. $71 only for a 1/6 scale of Anya. Not too bad, really. Moving on to the next one. Also a main highlight of this week. Yeah, we have like 5 really good figures this week. This is one of them. SC Studio Seal Fiat Grey Rat from Mushoku Tensei. This is 1/4 by the way. 1/4 scale for regular version, $302. Yeah, it is cheap because this is a relatively simple figure. And the EX version, you're paying $441. Okay. No pictures yet. This is the only picture you're getting, right? What is the height of this thing? 37 centimeters. Yeah. Pretty nice price. And EX version, you're getting double platform, double pendulum. What is that supposed to mean? Double platform means you're getting a second base, most likely. Yeah, I think you're getting an extra base, not that you're getting an extra second body, which is nude. I'm not sure if that is the case over here. We need more pictures, really. But the face is pretty good on this one. Moving on to the next one, we have another figure of Pura from Legend of Zelda by Enigma Studio. We had one last week, another one this week. So version A of this thing is $441 US. Version B, 321. She is completely nude. And EX version getting both for 637, right? And to me, I think that version A is more than good enough. Why would I want a nude version of her, like completely nude? Doesn't make any sense, right? Version A is good enough, seriously. And this figure looks pretty nicely made. Not to mention, we don't have genuine figures of this character. Up next, from Hero Belief Studio and Hunter Fan Studio, we have Lunch from Dragon Ball. Her name is Lunch. Okay, this one we have a few options over here, 1x6 scale and 1x4 scale, and maximum price is $359 US at 1x6 scale, which isn't too bad when you're getting two different hits at 1x4 scale, right? It is actually a good value. Okay, so we have 1x6 and 1x4, and then there is anime hit version. And double hit version, we're getting realistic version. This is the realistic version we're looking at. And this is the anime hit version. Personally, if I were to pre-order this, I would go for the double hit version. I would get both. The realistic one actually looks kind of nice, but I would love to stay true to the original character design. So the anime hit version is just as important over here. Yeah. Moving on to the next one from Shi Yi Studio, or is it Shi Yi? One Piece Princess number 1 Alabasta Princess Vivi, $211 US. With Nefertari Vivi over there, this is 211 and 1x8 skill only 134. Just go for the 1x6 skill. I don't understand why they would even offer 1x8 and 1x6. If you're offering maybe 1x7 and 1x4, it makes more sense, but 1x8 and 1x6, I think it is a bit unnecessary over here. Okay, this is the only picture we're getting. Coming soon. Regardless, this is great value we're looking at over here for a 1x8 or 1x6 scale figure. Up next, Overlord Albedo at 1x6 scale by ABsinthe Studio, $321 US. This thing is going to sell out so fast. If you are watching this right now and you want one because she looks incredible, pre-order it as soon as possible. $321 for a resin at 1x6 scale is actually okay. Like that rock over there and the wings, they cost a lot to make. Not to mention the face on this thing, the pose, everything. Yeah, this is among the very best third-party resins of Albedo I've ever seen. Right? Yeah, the very best. I'm not including the 1x4 scales. That is a whole different budget level altogether. Those 1x4 scales of Albedo, they're going for like $800 and up, right? Different budget. 1x6 scale, this is one of the absolute best we're looking at. And the height of this thing, okay, the width is 36, height 32, and wide the depth is 26. This is quite big. So $321. This is also one of the best, one of my favorites this week, together with Urawa Hanako earlier from NiPiPi Studio. Up next, we have Blue Archive Sora from PRPR Studio, $231 US. This figure barely has any detail on it, and just because I'm getting a second body, a nude torso, I'm supposed to pay $230 for this? No, this doesn't look good at all, right? As much as you may be a big Blue Archive fan, I can't really recommend this one. Not at this price at least. And yeah, Blue Archive and their lolly characters as usual, you know. Even though you may be a big fan of Blue Archive, I can't really recommend this. I think it is just a matter of time before other brands pick up on this character, yeah. And the last 5 figures for today, last 5 resin figures, they are very lewd stuff, and I'm going to change the image on screen over here, heavily crop it in. I think that is the best way to censor things. Instead of putting random objects all over the screen like I used to do in the previous weeks, I have been trying to figure out what is the best way to do it, right? So the last 5 figures, you have to go and check it out yourself. Links in the description below because they are very X-rated. But we'll go through them very quickly. The first one over here, we have HW Genshin Impact. Hu Tao. Yeah. Basically, she is wearing nothing at all. And the price is not yet confirmed. This is a very early bird pre-order. So yeah, go and check it out yourself. The next one, we have another Lute Genshin figure. Genshin people, they are known to be quite horny in some way. I have no idea why. Not too different from Blue Archive fans, by the way. So we have another Lute figure of Shenhe with that Ahegao face over there. I think if you want this figure, you'll be buying it for the Ahegao face, right? This one is going for $194 only at 1/6 scale. Great value, seriously. So if you are into stuff like this, then this might be worth picking up. Yep. The next one, another Lute Genshin figure, you see? It is all Genshin stuff. This time around, this is Yae Miko. Is that an orgasm face? But please don't try anything weird with that mouth open over there, right? Please don't. Take care of your figures. $192 at 1/6 scale. So this is once again pretty reasonable given what you're getting over here. I think people are buying it for the face only because everything else below, there is nothing to see, just nude body all over. And the last 2 figures, Goblin stuff. Goblin Slayer is trending, right? So the first one here, TXS Studio, who else, right? TXS Studio, they do all these weird fetish figures. Original Goblin series, this is the 5th one already. Goblin War Rider, $321, but from what I'm aware of, the figure is quite large, quite big. And anyone of you guys out there actually buy stuff like this, please do let me know down in the comments below. I would love to know why you go for it. Personally, I can see why I would want a figure like this. Like, it is something different on my shelf, right? And lastly, also a Goblin figure from No Sugar Studio. Very similar concept over here. Original Demon King's Goblin Knight, $245 at 1/6 scale. I think the one by TXS Studio looks a lot better. This one is not that nice in comparison, right? And that is all for figures on pre-order this week, 13th to 18th November. Which one will you pre-order? Let me know down in the comments below. In the early parts of this video today, I said that there is nothing that interests me for this week. That is mostly true for the genuine side, right? I'm mainly referring to genuine figures. I always buy genuine figures first. But for the third party side, it is not so simple. That Albedo figure and Urawa Hanako, seriously, I am very tempted. I don't even collect Overlord figures. Until today, I don't have a single Albedo figure, despite so many of them being released out there. But the first one to really attract me is that third-party resin figure by ABsinthe Studio. Seriously, man. So should I go and get one? I mean, it is difficult. Even if I purchased that figure of Albedo, I couldn't review it on YouTube because of the figure being completely nude, you know. I couldn't put it on screen. So if I do end up buying one, unfortunately, it is mostly for personal enjoyment only. And that is the sad part because I want to share the figure with you guys and, of course, give you guys an insight into what this figure brand ABsinthe Studio is like. Are they any good? I want to provide knowledge and anything of value to you guys, but I can't with that figure of Albedo specifically. The good news is I did pre-order something else from ABsinthe Studio. It is coming out in 2nd quarter next year. So we will see by then how figures by this brand turn out to be. Until then, if you enjoyed today's video, please do give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to this channel for more figure news and anime figure content in general. Until then, thank you very much and I'll see you guys again very soon. Goodbye.